What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome in to another episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleazebomb. God, this cough, man. Today's episode, we're going to be diving into my running back stardom, sit-em, every single matchup, guys. I'm going to give you the defensive ranks that I have. I'm going to give you the player game scripts of how I think it's going to play out, with expected points, totals, over-unders, and games and stuff like that. That is going to help you decide which running backs to start this week. Before we dive into it, guys, as always, make sure you tap that thumbs up, hit that subscription button. I'll be bringing you fantasy football content all year long to help you dominate your leagues. And if you guys want to join the best Discord to help you win your fantasy football all year round, till the end of time right now, the Guys FF is up. It will be pinned in the comments. It will be in the description as well. Me and my partner, Big Draft Energy, we cover everything. So trade talk, live one-on-one chats, Dynasty Rankings for every single player, player values for every single player to trade for, pick'em locks, DFS, one-on-one trade talk, best ball strategies. The BDE draft guide is there. Roster reviews and a chance to draft with you. I'll be drafting with a couple people in here this Saturday to help them in their drafts. And then always, we got to shout out the sponsor. Shout out to Drafters Fantasy Sports. If you guys do not know what Drafters is, it is a best ball community with DFS, pick'ems, dailies, and stuff like that. You can sign up. Make sure you use promo code SLEAZE. It will match your deposit up to $100. And let's dive in to my start, sit, running backs for week one. Football is almost here, baby. So this is my board for the start. I'm setting the top teams are the away team. The bottom teams is the home team, hence the versus sign in the middle, kind of leading down for you guys. We're going to start off with each matchup as they come to the week. I try to get you all my content out before the Thursday kickoff so you have everything you need to know for fantasy football. The first matchup, we get the division rival of the Dallas Cowboys that are heading into the Philadelphia Eagles. And this Cowboys running back room, man, I've been talking about it all year long. Like, do we think that any of these three running backs, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jadon Blue, who's going to emerge as the running back one this year? I would bet that it's going to be the rookie Jadon Blue, if anybody. But when you're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, they're my number one defense. They're a stout run D. The Cowboys are going to be a pass-heavy attack team this year. I'm not going to feel comfortable starting any one of these running backs unless you're in a super, super deep league. And, and these are all based towards redraft, right? So this is like 12-man, 14-man. If you have him out there, I'm not going to feel comfortable with Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, or Jadon Blue versus this Philly front in week one. Heading over to the Eagles side, of course, Saquon Barkley is a must start. I'm going to throw A.J. Dillon and Will Shipley in there. We're going to talk about handcuffs as we go through them and how it plays out here. They did just sign as well. Audric estimated the practice squad. I don't think he's going to be that relevant. Saquon Barkley is always a must start. If you spent the draft capital in the first round of a top 5 pick, you're not going to bench your player. Let's be real. I think they brought in A.J. Dillon for the tush push. I think if anything were to happen with the Madden curse, with the 400-plus touches for Saquon Barkley heading into the playoffs last year, if anyone's going to be the backup, I would bank it on Will Shipley, but I'm going with Javonte Williams and all the Cowboys as a sit and Saquon Barkley as a start. Heading down to Friday night in Sao Paulo, Brazil, another division game. The Chiefs are going to be taking on the Chargers. The over-under is 46.5. The Chiefs are favored by 3.5. And when I'm looking at this game, right, the field last year, if you remember Jordan Love and the running game, obviously Saquon Barkley went nuclear because it's Saquon Barkley. This is going to be a very, very scary game injury-wise. I hope the field is better than last year because it was absolutely terrible. Now, when we're headed to the Chiefs side here, you do have Isaiah Pacheco, Brashard Smith, Kareem Hunt. They have kind of a nightmare, how is the backfield going to play out? I haven't been high on Isaiah Pacheco coming off that major injury. I think he needs another year. But obviously he scores a preseason in the touchdown and everyone gets hyped up. I am not starting him versus the Chargers front. I do not feel safe at all in the week one. I do not know how the backfield is going to play out. Could you see Kareem Hunt? Could you see Brashard Smith and Jerick McKinnon roll 2.0? I know it's a division grind game where they're usually going to be low scoring and you might get a rushing touchdown if he punches one in to save the day. That'd be the only way for me with Pacheco. Heading over to the Chiefs side, Omarion Hampton. I am not going to be trusting Najee Harris. I know he was just activated off the NFI list, and, we haven't seen the one-eye firework accident that's happened with him. So when you get Amari and Hampton out there, he's going to be the feature back in this first game. Kansas City still has a nasty front, but I think the volume is going to be too much, and he is a home run hitter. And I really, really like Amari and Hampton in the week 1 start. But again, Harbaugh has alluded to that it is going to be a committee backfield in the season. I just don't think it's going to be in week 1 because we haven't even seen Najee out there yet. So I love Hampton as a start, and I'm sitting Pacheco. Division games keep rolling on as Baker Mayfield and the Bucs are headed in to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. The over-under is 47.5. Tampa Bay is favored 2.5. And we do have the update we'll get to in a minute with the Falcons offensive line. But first, when we're looking at the Bucs, you got Bucky Irving, who is going to be an absolute smash start for me every week. He has top 3 upside. I do believe that they are going to look to trade Rachaad White here, hopefully before the trade deadline. There's been a lot of rumors swirling around that because they really like what they have in Sean Tucker. But there's no way I'm starting either one of these guys. And the Falcons run D, yeah, they did spend a lot of draft capital. They traded up for 2 first-round picks on the D-line. I do think they're going to be developmental pieces, but what Bucky Irving can do in the pass game as well. I'm trading for this guy as much as I can, drafting this guy as much as I can. Bucky Irving is one of my absolute guys this season. On to the Falcons side now. Obviously, Bijan Robinson is still going to be a start. The Bucs run D is very, very good, though, guys. And you have to look at Kyle McGarry, their right tackle, stud right tackle, just went down for the season. Still not going to shade me away from Bijan Robinson ever. If you spend top 5 draft capital, you're going to be starting the guy. Tyler Algier, they've said it's going to be a 1A, 1B thing, or Bijan's come out and said that. I'm not buying that by any means. I'm still benching Tyler Algier. But he is one of the best handcuffs you could possibly get in fantasy football if anything were to happen to Bijan Robinson. And, of course, again, I'm starting Bijan and I'm starting Bucky. Absolute smash starts. Our first look at the Cincinnati Bengals, who are heading into the Cleveland Browns. They've gotten off to slow starts in their careers or in their last 3 years for the Bengals. I hope it doesn't happen this season. And, man, can anyone be higher on Chase Brown than everybody in the fantasy football world? This man's ADP has skyrocketed so high, to a point where I don't even like it. But obviously, I still like Chase Brown this year. I firmly believe that Taj Brooks, after watching the preseason, is the backup. I think Samaje Perine maybe sprinkles in for a little third down here and there. Obviously, I'm not starting either one of them as long as Chase Brown is out there healthy. And the Cleveland Browns with Joe Flacco out there, they're just going to get absolutely throttled. You got to love Chase Brown in week 1 as an absolute smash start. Now, the Browns running back room, we don't know how it's going to play out. So I'm not going to risk any of them as a start this week. And I know the Bengals defense is a defense you want to target. Hopefully they get Trey Hendrickson out there with Shamar Stewart on the D-line, to shore up a little run defense. But the Bengals D is going to be terrible versus the pass. And if I have Jerome Ford, Sampson, obviously, if you need the flex start, you could maybe throw one of them in there as a dart throw because they might get the passing work versus the Bengals. And Quinshon Judkins, we know nothing about yet still. We're hoping we get the suspension update. We're hoping we get a contract signed. We don't know what's going on there. This cough. I'm staying away from him no matter what in fantasy football unless it is literally a keeper league. The Miami Dolphins are headed into Lucas Oil Stadium to take on the Danny Dimes-led Colts. This is going to be a fantasy game where I am targeting every single Dolphin in this game, and I'm going to absolutely love it. Now, all of us that got the Devon A-Chain dip that fell to maybe round 3 or late round 2 in your drafts, that was an absolute steal. He is good to go week 1. Ollie Gordon looks like he's going to be taking the RB2 job here early on in the season because Jalen Rett was just ruled out for 2 to 3 weeks, and we don't know the severity or how long it's going to last. Devon A-Chain is going to absolutely shred the Colts. Possible RB1 in week 1. We'll get to that in my rankings. This is my guy. If you follow my content, I've been on this guy for 3 years. He's going to absolutely destroy. On the Colts side, Jonathan Taylor, the matchup is beautiful. The Miami Dolphins defense is toasted. DJ Giddens is locked in as the RB2 now. They released Khalil Herbert as well. And with JT, it's all going to come down to game script with the Colts, right? Obviously, I've said this multiple times. I don't like Jonathan Taylor at ADP value in your drafts, right? Because he hasn't had over 28 receptions in the past 3 years. The Colts are going to be playing from behind. He's not a great pass catching back out the backfield. Yes, he can do it. He's not elite at it. I hope that they can stay in this game. So, if he doesn't score early, and they fall behind in games, that's why I'm more afraid of Jonathan Taylor. But obviously, in this matchup, I love both these running backs as smash starts. The Las Vegas Raiders are traveling out East to the New England Patriots. They are going to be going at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. It is 42.5 over under. The Patriots are favored by 2.5. Obviously, if you have Ashton Genty, you're going to be starting him. You paid the draft capital in the first, maybe early second round. And the Patriots defense is going to be revamped and better. With Vrabel coming in, they've made a lot of changes with the offensive line, a lot of changes with the defense. I expect the Patriots to be a lot better this year. I'm still starting Ashton Genty. I truly believe the handcuff is Raheem Mostert over Zamir White. That's why they brought him in. That's why I don't have Zamir White on there. The Patriots side, if you guys know me, this is the guy. This is him. Henderson. Travion Henderson is going to be an absolute smash start. That's why he's on the thumbnail. You're going to get the Raiders defense. I mean, the Raiders last year, obviously their run game was absolutely anemic. Hopefully that could change with Pete Carroll and, Chip Kelly coming in. But Travion Henderson, if you've watched the game-breaking speed, the wheel routes, the reception game, the pass blocking that he has, this man is going to be a league winner in fantasy football. And I've been saying that all year long. Now, even if you have the Ramondre Stevenson here, so I'm not fully saying bench Ramondre here. It's a 50-50 call. Like if you play in a deep league or something, you need to throw Ram out there. I do think he's going to see a lot of work in week one. I mean, if you look at the game script here, you got to like the game script. Like I said, when West Coast teams travel east, they struggle heavily. That's not just me saying that. That is absolute facts. And I think the Patriots could control the clock a lot here and pound the run a ton here to where Ramondre Stevenson may fall into the end zone. So if you need a flex start, possibly I like Ramondre Stevenson if you want to take the shot. If not, I'm fine with that too. I'm not, that's why it's in the middle of 50-50. The Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison, and Trey McBride, they are headed out to the Superdome to take on the Saints, who are going to be led by Spencer Rattler, which is crazy to me. The over-under is 42.5. The Cardinals are favored by 6.5 here. And this is going to be a game where you absolutely have to start James Conner. And Trey Benson, I almost thought about putting in yellow, but I'm going to keep him in red here. They say he's going to be more involved this year, as the season goes on. Last year was kind of sluggish for him. He's looked a little better in the offseason this year and in the preseason. But when you're looking at the Saints, you almost want to start every running back all year long against this team because they're going to be playing from behind the whole time. The game script is going to lead towards the Cardinals. James Conner is going to absolutely feast in this game, get a ton of work, and you might even see Trey Benson get some work because how much is Spencer Rattler in this Saints offense really going to move the ball all year long, right? Which is why, I'll talk about that in my wide receiver video. Now, on the Saints side, Alvin Kamara. If he stays with the Saints all year, I have said that I think that he's a trade candidate by the trade deadline. Why would the Saints want to keep this guy with them playing for a number one pick, with them playing for a quarterback next year? I don't know why they drafted Tyler Shuck with a second round. All of that I get. But if he stays with the Saints, he may break the reception running back record this season. This is going to be an absolute feast season for Alvin Kamara out the backfield. Not a lot of rushing for him, but the receiving work is going to be killer. Kendre Miller has emerged as the RB2 here in the preseason. He's gotten work with all the ones, and he's had injury history since TCU in college. But still, he's going to be red for me, but he is the cuff to own as of right now. So both these running backs, absolute starts for me this week. The grunge revenge game of the week. The Pittsburgh Steelers and newly 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, and Justin Fields, who was traded from the Steelers as a starting quarterback to the Jets. Of course, the NFL knows this. Of course, they put that as a week one matchup. But this is going to be a very, very grungy matchup for me this week. I don't know if a lot of points are going to be scored in this game. Both defenses are very, very good. You could say they're both in the top 10 if you want. When I look at Jaylen Warren and Caleb Johnson, it's going to be touchdown dependent. Do I like either one of them as starts? Not really. If you need a flex play, possibly you'll see a flex play. I do believe that Caleb Johnson is going to take this role over as the season goes on. He's going to get the Najee Harris role of last year, which acquired 300 touches, which is why I like Caleb Johnson at value way over Jaylen Warren. But in this game, I don't like either one of them as a start. And on the Jets side, it's going to be the same thing. I mean, I'm going to throw Breece Hall out there as a start in week one for just the passing work, right? Just the passing work alone. Braylon Allen has looked better than this guy all year long. I've been saying fade Breece Hall at ADP all year long. And when you get the Steelers defense, Jesus, this is one of the top defenses in the league versus the run, versus the pass. They're absolutely stacked. I mean, I think Justin Fields gets more rushing yards in this game than both running backs as the quarterback. That's truly what I believe. With Watt coming off the edge, it's going to be a nightmare. But if you need to throw Breece out there as a start, it's a really, really sketch start for me. Braylon Allen firmly 100% believe he's going to be the goal line back. If you need a flex play for him, could he fall into the end zone? For sure. I just don't like it this week. If you want to do it, it's a 50-50 for me. And Breece Hall, I think, is going to get it done in the pass game way more than the rush game in this game. Another division battle is underway here. The New York Giants are headed into Landover, Maryland to take on the newly JD5 with Deebo Samuel and how this offense is going to look. But this game and the information I give you here is something you're going to need to pay attention to. That probably most people in football that just play fantasy football that don't pay attention don't know here. So on the New York Giants side, Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scatterbo both going to be sits for me. Now you're going to say, well, maybe they fall behind and get it done in the passing game. They could, right? They could. I just don't think they're going to hit their projections. Now, they have the worst offensive line. The Commanders' defense has gotten better last year. Their defensive line's gotten better. The Giants are facing also, they wanted the number one toughest schedule in the NFL this year with Russell Wilson. You got, a little Malik Neighbors toe with back scare going on with him. I just don't like these running backs all year long. Mostly they're going to be on my sit, and that's just how it's going to be for me with the Giants this year. Now, the Commander side, this is going to be a sneaky sit for me. Everyone is hyped up on Ja'Cory Merritt, and everyone is hyped up on Austin Eckler. They were named the co-starters, but this is the information I'm going to be telling you. This Giants front seven, guys, with the addition of Abdul Carter in the draft, who looks like a freak of nature. This is going to be a top 2 run D all year long. They're going to get after the quarterback. And this is like a Justin Fields situation with the Steelers. I believe that JD5 will get more rush yards than Ja'Cory Merritt and Austin Eckler in week 1 because they'll be pressuring the outside and he'll have to step up and run through. Austin Eckler may be able to get some done in the pass game, but I'm avoiding that here because I think the Commanders are going to run him over. But again, I'm staying away from both these teams, both sit-ems for me. I do not like any one of these guys in week 1. Here we go, baby. The Carolina Panthers are headed into Duval to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The over-under 46.5. Jacksonville is favored by 3.5 in this game. Now, this is my favorite game of the week to target every single way across the board. DFS, pick'ems, whatever it is. I love this game. Both these defenses really struggle. Man, the Carolina Panthers run D was astronomically one of the worst of all time last year. Now, when we're looking at Chuba Hubbard going up against Jacksonville, this is an absolute smash start for Chuba Hubbard. He's one of the most undervalued running backs in fantasy football. He would have been a top 8 to 9 running back if he didn't miss a couple games last year, and he goes off the board way later than that. Their offensive line is number 7 or number 8, top 10 ranked. Their schedule is one of the easiest on the year. And if you are watching this video and you have your draft this weekend, make sure you target Chuba Hubbard. Thank me later. Rico Dowdle is going to be the handcuff. I'm not going to be starting him. You could say Trevor Etienne as well. I'll throw him up there if we need to, if injuries happen. Now, this is the tough side here, right? The Jaguars side. So we have a couple things to talk about here, and this matchup is beautiful across the board, going to go up against the Panthers defense, right? So there's a lot of trade rumors between Etienne and Bigsby. So if you own either one of these guys, we don't know how it's really going to go here in week 1. Could they showcase Etienne? Could they showcase Tank Bigsby for a trade? A lot of Bears rumors for Tank Bigsby as well to be their goal line back and head over there. I'm going to say Etienne's your starting guy because he's still, in my opinion, the best running back in this backfield. Liam Cohen now added. You saw what he could do with Bucky Irving. I think Etienne is the most Bucky Irving-like running back for them. But again, they could also showcase Tank Bigsby, and then Etienne is left out. And Tootin was an absolute monster in college, so, he had one of the highest dominator ratings of all time. So, this is like a nightmare, but I'm still going to go with Etienne. But we do got to wait and see how things shake out here because it could backfire in my face, and it could be Bigsby, or it could be Etienne, or, it could even be Tootin. So, this is a tough one, but I am going to go with Etienne and Hubbard both as my starts in this game. Man, one of the toughest starts for a number 1 pick of all time. Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans are headed into Mile High Stadium to take on, in my opinion, the second-ranked defense behind the Eagles, the Denver Broncos. This is going to be very, very rough. But there is good news for the Tennessee Titans Tony Pollard drafters, right? So Tyjae Spears ends up on IR out for 4 weeks here. I'm not going to put, Joey Chestnut or Khalil Mullins up here unless it's needed, unless anything happens to Tony Pollard. I don't think they're going to get a lot of work. Now, I hate this matchup every single way for Tony Pollard, but I believe the usage is going to lead him to a start this week just because I don't think they're going to use Chestnut or Mullins like I said. I think it's going to be a full Tony Pollard work. He could pass his projection just based on volume, but this matchup, the Denver Broncos defense is absolutely nasty. So, like, moving forward, it will be different ranking looks here. It's just you got to love that Tony Pollard is the solo back out there right now. On the Denver Broncos side, a lot of people think that J.K. Dobbins is going to lead this backfield at the gates. I have switched my tune. I'm not buying that. R.J. Harvey is going to be a smash start, and J.K. Dobbins is going to be a possible flex play this week for me. And why that is because Denver Broncos is the number one offensive line. Their team is going to be a Super Bowl contender this year. They are solid all the way around. Defense, special teams, kicker, offensive line, defensive line, corner, secondary, everything. This team is going to be very, very scary for everyone that plays them. And I believe Cam Ward is really going to struggle in this game. And the game script is going to lead to where R.J. Harvey is a start and J.K. Dobbins could be a flex play because I really think Cam Ward is going to have a nightmare week 1 at Mile High in Denver. My 49ers start off at the 12th man divisional game at the Seattle Seahawks here. And it has got 44.5 over under minus 2.5. Lower scoring game for these teams normally. Christian McCaffrey is back healthy. This man is a must start every single time he's healthy. Doesn't matter the matchup. Doesn't matter what's going on. He's going to be heavily involved in the pass game. He's going to be the engine that churns this 49er offense. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's go. You see the Niners behind me. And B-Rob, the addition of B-Rob. Now, Brian Robinson Jr. right now, guys, may be the best handcuff to own in fantasy football. You have seen what Shanahan can do with Garendo, with Jordan Mason over time. They make them RB1s instantly. If you draft CMC, you must be targeting B-Rob. He is the biggest high-risk, high-reward player in fantasy football. You know this with the Achilles last year, double Achilles last year, by the way. Now, heading down the Seattle Seahawks side, everyone needs to pump the brakes here. So, you watch Clint Kubiak come in. You watch the preseason against the practice guys. You watch Talani run over everybody who won the RB3 job over Damian Martinez. Now, God, this cough is driving me nuts. Kenneth Walker. I'm going to put him as a start week 1. I really love Zach Charbonnet more on the season than Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker's never been healthy in his entire career in the NFL for a full season. He's already coming off an injury in the preseason here. Yes, will he be up if they're healthy? Yeah, you haven't really seen a lot of work from him either. And I think it's going to be more of a 1A, 1B. I almost put Kenneth Walker in yellow, but he's just one of my favorite players to watch. I'm going to keep him in green for week 1, but I do think Charbonnet is coming. Kenneth Walker is also on a contract year, could be traded before the deadline. Something to pay attention to there as well. And when you're going up against the 49ers, and these games are always like 2023, 2017, really low scoring. 49ers with Robert Saleh back. Add Michael Williams, go with Bosa. And the Seattle Seahawks line, guys, is very bad. They rank 30th according to PFF. So, yeah, it's looked great in the preseason, but that's the preseason. This is real game time now. And I'm a little more worried about the run game, the rushing yards. I do think they get it done in the passing game. That's why I like Kenneth Walker as a start. But I'm going to keep both of them as a start and Charbonnet as a flex if you need. Talk about NFC Championship prediction. Week 1 battle right here. The Green Bay Packers are going to be taking on the Detroit Lions in Lambeau Field. Now, 48.5 over under, Green Bay favored by 1.5. There's a lot to talk about in this game. So on the Lions side, you know Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously, must start every single time. David Montgomery could be a flex play if you want in this game because they say that they are going to use Jahmyr Gibbs a lot in the screen game, a lot lining up in the slot. So you could get a lot of Montgomery work as well. I'm just more of a fade on David Montgomery this year. Now, the Lions. A lot to talk about, like I said. The Lions, the center, Frank Ragnow retires. Hall of Famer. Big hit there in the center. They lose Zeitler, the right guard, to Tennessee. So, yeah, that number 1 offensive Lions last year that was massive is now probably bumped down to like 13 to 15 range. A couple rookies in there starting as well. Going to be a different look. You also have Ben Johnson, the offensive mastermind, out of town. So, you know, and Green Bay is looking at Micah Parsons supposedly in trades. Obviously, nothing's happened yet, which that would make just a nightmare for this game for the Lions. But I'm going to put Gibbs as a start. Obviously, every single game Gibbs as a start. And Montgomery as a 50-50. And we're looking at Green Bay now. And Marshawn Lloyd ends up on IR. I'm not going to put Wilson up here unless, you know, anything happens to Josh Jacobs. But Wilson could be the backup here for 4 games. Something to note, right? Josh Jacobs is sitting in another situation of last year where they're going to lean on him as the guy again in the run game. I don't care who he's going up to. The volume is going to be absolutely massive for Josh Jacobs in the first 4 to 6 weeks of this season. I know the Lions defense got better. I know they get Hutchinson back as well. But when you have a game like this, Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs, they're both absolute starts. Easy call here. The Houston Texans are headed down to SoFi Stadium to take on the Los Angeles Rams, and Matthew Stafford survived the back problems. But running back wise here for the Houston Texans, I mean, this game is 43.5 over under. Rams are favored by 2.5. I like the Rams to smash in this game easy. Now, Joe Mixon, and I've got a couple insights. I went down to the Fantasy Football Expo. I've talked to a couple big guys, and I had this information before we even just got the pup list right now. And this is not official. This is just people I trust in the industry that have said Joe Mixon is not going to play all year long this year. Very, very scary there. Watch out when you're drafting Joe Mixon in fantasy football. Now, you also have one of the worst offensive lines ranked 32nd in the Houston Texans. So, yeah, Nick Chubb comes in. Could it be Woody Marks? Could I put up Damian Pierce up there? If that's how it plays out, it is. The answer for me is never the Texans running back room all year long this year. I don't care if Nick Chubb is out there as a starting guy. I don't think Woody Marks, maybe he gets it done in the passing game. He was a nice little rookie out of USC. The Rams front is going to be nasty. They're going to get after them. And that offensive line is going to make it very, very tough for these running backs to run this year. On to the Rams side, Kyren Williams. This is going to be an absolute smash start for me, even with the Texans defense being like the number 3 defense, in my opinion, a great front that gets after everybody. I feel like the game script, and when you have Devontae Adams and Puka on the outside, it's going to open up more for Kyren Williams. They did just update today that they're going to reduce his workload. I've heard that for a couple years now. I don't buy the Rams' lies. Kyren Williams is still the guy. That's why he got the contract. Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter, if anything were to happen to Kyren, I do think they split the timeshare backfield. Don't know how that would play out, but, until anything happens, we'll get to that point. Kyren's going to be a sit for me, and the Texans probably going to be Kyren's a start for me, and the Texans will probably be a sit for me all year long. The game of the week, AFC Championship possible preview. The Baltimore Ravens are taking on the Buffalo Bills in New York. And man, does the NFL just know how to light it up week 1 on Sunday Night Football. This is going to be an absolute monster game. Derrick Henry, no matter what, when he's out there, you're going to be starting him regardless. I do think the Bills defense is revamped. I think they were hurt all last year. Adding Joey Bosa, if he can stay healthy, is going to make this front even more of a nightmare. And one of the most underrated defenses, but still, I'm not sitting Derrick Henry ever, let's be honest. Keaton Mitchell, I do believe, is the handcuff. He looked great in the preseason with that 80-yard burst. I could put Justice Hill up there. If anything happens to Henry, we'll get to that point. But I'm leaving Justice Hill off for now. On to the Bills side, James Cook, massive contract. He's going to get more work. This guy's, yes, is Ray Davis a great handcuff to have behind him 100%. And again, the Ravens D, their run D was number 1 last year in yards per game. And they got even better with Green, but I do not care. James Cook can get it done in the pass game. I think he's going to be more involved, and this is a big, big game for both these teams for home field advantage looking down the stretch. Right out the gates, they're going to use their superstars in this game. Both these guys should be absolute starts. Easy no-brainer here. Monday Night Football. Let's just send the 2 quarterbacks from 2024 and J.J. McCarthy and Caleb Williams at it in week 1. The Vikings will be headed into Chi-Town to take on the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. The over-under is 43.5, and Minnesota is favored on the road by 1.5. Now, when I'm looking at the Vikings here, I've been saying all year long that I believe it's Jordan Mason over Aaron Jones. I think he's my league-winning value down the stretch. I just don't trust Aaron Jones heading into age 31 with all the injuries he's had. The Vikings offensive line is revamped. I'm going to put both of them as you can flex start play, right? Don't love it. Don't hate it. The Bears defense is going to be better. They were hurt all last year as well. They've added some pieces as well. It's going to be a better front. But the Vikings also acquired, 2 great linemen from the Colts as well. So their offensive line is going to be revamped as well. So, in this game, could Aaron Jones get it done in the pass game? I think Jordan Mason finds the end zone more than I think Aaron Jones does. I think he's going to be the goal line back. That's why both of them are 50-50 for me. If you need to flex either one of them, I'm fine with it. On to the Bears side. Now, this is going to be one of my big calls of the week here. I am not going to be starting DeAndre Swift. I'm not going to be starting Roschon Johnson, who I truly believe is the backup over Manunjai, even though he had a good preseason. DeAndre Swift And it just feels like all the trade rumors around the Bears looking for a running back is just leading me to not believe that the new coaching staff that's come in, obviously Ben Johnson, likes the scheme that they have. So, DeAndre Swift obviously was like the survivor darling of the offseason, preseason with nothing happening yet. He hasn't gotten a goal line carry probably since elementary school. I do believe Roshan Johnson or Menunjai. Again, we don't know who's going to be in there yet in week 1 for the goal line work. But I just feel like if he doesn't hit like a 60-yard pass, DeAndre Swift is not going to be a smash start. This Vikings defense is ferocious. They're going to be causing major mayhem for Caleb Williams. And I just don't like DeAndre Swift in week 1. But if you want to flex Aaron Jones or Jordan Mason, I'm fine with it. Bang. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode, whether you're listening on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Can't thank you guys enough. As always, on your way out, make sure you tap that like and subscribe. All the support's appreciated. If you have any comments, anything, make sure you drop them in the comments. It does not have to pertain to this video. I try to answer every single one of them for you guys to help you win this season. And then my next video will be wide receiver stardom sit-ems, and then tight end stardom sit-ems. And then we will get into the week 1 all rankings. I'll have my sleeper plays for week 1. I'll have my smash starts for week 1 video coming. And if you guys, again, if you want to check out the Discord, it is there. It is linked in the comments, or pinned in the comments and linked in the description as well. And then as always, if you guys haven't signed up on Drafters, you can do pickups with us all year long. Sign up on Drafters, use promo code SLEAZE. That is it for me. I will catch you guys in the next episode. Sleaze Bomb out.